Welcome back to BBB Adventures and episode 3 of a short series about our time in New York City after completing the Apollo mission, our bike touring adventure across North America. In our last episode, we toured the East River and New York Harbor on the fantastic Skyline Princess and spent some time at Donovan's Pub in Woodside. This episode picks us up the next day as we are leaving Cousin Dan and Jen's house for a day of fun. We just left Cousin Danny's house.
Yes, we did, because we're on an adventure today.
Today's an adventure day.
We're not on our bikes. We're walking and taking public transportation.
Yeah, we're going to take the subway, the famous New York subway. And we're going to go to a museum.
Yep, our tickets are purchased. We just have to get there.
Big adventure day. Okay, do we need to be on this side or the other side?
You can make a decision up there.
Oh, you can? Suffolk Expressway, Manhattan Express, number 7. Manhattan Express 7. Come on, let's go find it. Is that it? How do you know there's that? Where are we getting off?
Queensboro Plaza Station.
Queensboro Plaza Station.
Next stop.
Is it really?
Does it make sense?
This is Times Square. This is Times Square.
Yeah, there's the ball drop.
We're in Times Square. We didn't even know it. Is this where we were supposed to be?
Can't catch my breath. It's like, what the heck? Am I out of shape?
Yeah, you should ride a bike. Jeez, lazy. There's a big cruise ship. There's the Intrepid. That's the museum we're going to. This is exciting. How are we doing on our timing?
Perfect. We got 10 minutes. They'll probably let us in early.
Oh, 10 minutes to our earliest
Yeah.
entrance. See that Super Tomcat?
Yes.
That's the plane Tom Cruise flew in, the original Top Gun.
Is it?
Yeah. Is this the front? I think this is the front. Yeah, this is the front. For sure. Oh, we can go in a submarine too. For anybody who likes Legos, here's the challenge. Make yourself a big scaled version of the Intrepid. Yeah.
It's Legos.
It's Legos. It's a boatload of Legos. It's really neat. We're down here. It's a 1/40th scale made of Legos. Free charge. They have this free charging station.
So cool.
You just type in your secret code and
The door opens.
door opens.
Plug your phone in.
And then you shut the door and it turns red. Says somebody's phone is in there.
Retrieve your device at any time.
At any time.
That
We'll come
is
back.
so cool.
We'll be back in 3 weeks.
No, 2 hours.
Oh. This is what the flight deck is constructed like. It's wood with steel cladding. The whole deck. It's big. It's really big. This is a World War II era plane. This plane belongs to the Intrepid. It says so right on it. It's branded.
It belongs on this aircraft carrier.
Sure does. This is the hangar deck. It's right where it belongs.
In the hangar deck.
It's just one of the guys.
I like the lizard.
There's one on the fuselage too up there above on the engine intake. I think that's a spare fuel tank. That thing? Or, yeah, that's a bomb. But I think that's a spare fuel tank. Too high. Too high. Wave them off. Wave them off.
Too low.
Oh, too low.
Slant. Slant.
Okay, it's a bad landing. Wave them off.
Tail hook. Tail hook, not down.
Tail hook not down. Tail hook
That's
not down.
Do not land.
Do not land.
Don't
do it.
Too low.
Too low.
We too low.
We too low. We too high.
We too high.
Tail hook not deployed. Wave it off. Okay, you're qualified. Good job. Okay, you talking that tube, tell us something.
I need to eat lunch.
What did you say?
I'm super duper hungry.
She's super duper hungry. Talk louder.
I am hungry.
This is the USS Growler. It's the only remaining Regulus submarine, which is this cruise missile, left in the world. This is where they used to store the Reguluses. Yeah, this is they used to store those missiles in here. Then they would load them onto that launching platform. Yeah, this is where the missiles.
Two missile hangars could hold 2 missiles. The missiles were stored nose to tail with the wings folded. During a launch, missiles were brought from the hangar to the launching ramp.
That's the launching ramp.
You're about to explore the former USS Growler, a guided missile submarine that served during the Cold War. Growler served the U.S. Navy from 1958 to 1964 during the height of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. Growler represents an early effort by the Navy to use submarines as launch platforms for nuclear missiles. Growler carried 4 Regulus 1 cruise missiles. The Regulus 1 missile was essentially a radar-guided jet aircraft that carried a nuclear warhead. Growler was a key part of the United States nuclear deterrence strategy. The United States believed that the threat of nuclear weapons lurking offshore would deter the Soviet Union from launching a strike against the United States. Thankfully, they never received an order to launch an attack. Many crew members believed that if they launched a missile, it would be quickly discovered and destroyed by the enemy. They lived with this risk every day while on patrol. Growler's longest time on patrol was 72 days. 2 months at sea may not sound so difficult, but on a submarine, it's a different story. Growler's crew numbered from 90 to 100 men. They worked, slept, ate, and relaxed inside these close quarters. While on patrol, Growler stayed below the surface. The crew could not leave the submarine. They had no sunshine, no starlight, and very little fresh air. As you move through the submarine, imagine what life was like for these men, and keep in mind that every single one of them served on Growler voluntarily. As technology improved, newer, larger submarines with more sophisticated missiles made Growler obsolete. It was decommissioned in 1964 after 6 years of service. Growler is now the only U.S. Navy missile submarine open to the public. It is remarkably intact from its Navy service and retains most of its original features.
This is my job.
Yeah, that's your coffee cup. At least you get some coffee.
Thanks. Where's your job? Where do you work?
I work here in the navigation department. I'm the navigator.
Yeah, that's true.
It is true. Wonder what was kept in here. It looks like a card catalog.
Yeah, it's the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah, that's the library. This is where you can charge your phone. Feel free.
Charge. That's where the crew charged their iPhones?
Yes.
In 64? In there or something. I don't know what that is.
Like the switchboard?
I'm not good at submarines.
This is bigger than the roomette on our train ride home.
No, stop.
Oh, it is.
Shh, don't say that.
I'm sorry. But it is. These are luxurious.
That's the,
Compared to...
yeah, but this is the officer's quarters. Would you like to be on a submarine?
I am on a submarine.
Would you like to be on it for 9 weeks or 10 weeks or 70 weeks or as long as it took us to do the Apollo mission?
Sure. 77 days. This seems easier than the Apollo mission.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's true. I bet it was very different when it's underway and you've got all your jobs to do. You climb through there so expertly.
This is your first job on a submarine, to drive. And we have 3 6-hour shifts. So 9 people of those 15 are the drivers.
Okay.
4 people of the 15 are the mess cooks, the people who work in the kitchen, not the cooks. And then the other 3 were the spooks. And so every 6 hours, somebody different in each of those beds.
So second, 15 beds, and how many people share that? 22 for 15?
No, 16 beds in a 22-man thing. 5 beds shared by 15 people. Every 6 hours, somebody different. And our day is 18 hours long, not 24.
And they brought their bedding with them every time, right?
We had a zippered mattress cover, and one guy would own the bed, and then the other 2 would share it. But the deal was you brought your own blanket. You zipped it up, but you slept on top of the blanket.
Every time.
How long did you serve on it?
I was on this for 14 months, and then I was on nuclear submarines for 6 years.
Awesome.
Thanks for your service.
What is this? This is the periscope, obviously. What is this one?
This is also a periscope.
Oh, there's 2.
Every submarine has to.
Is that redundancy?
No, sir. This is looking in the southwest at a target.
Okay.
Who's coming out of the northeast?
Oh.
Your back's turned.
Oh.
Once this goes up, we're not a submarine anymore. We're a piece of metal sticking out of the water.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
anybody can see it.
Yeah.
So it might as well be a safe piece of metal.
Okay.
And as long as we have 2 scopes, which you have to have, we bought the deluxe model for our second. This is all mechanical. Glass lenses, tubes, mirrors. This has a motor drive, a camera, a lens heater, but most importantly, this has a sextant. We can shoot the stars at night and do celestial navigation while we're submerged.
That's cool.
Yeah. And
That's
then
cool.
This guy steers. This one does the depth, and this one does the pitch or the angle we go up and down at. And a watch is 6 hours. They sat there 6 hours.
They let rookies do that, so it must not be too tough.
It's not that it isn't too tough. It isn't a particularly hard job. It's incredibly important. But the room has 15 people in it, 13 of whom are really, really highly trained, and 3 kids.
Okay.
You make a mistake, you're an arm's distance away.
Okay.
Plus, I lived on submarines. I know what the boat's supposed to be doing. I can feel in my feet if there's a mistake, and I can tell you which one's making it just from my feet,
Okay.
because I know what the boat's supposed to be doing.
Yes.
What are these?
That's really interesting.
This has its own hydraulic system, steering and diving hydraulics. If it fails, we can shift over to emergency to main ship's hydraulics, which raises the lower scope. If that fails, these are manual hydraulic pumps.
Oh, no kidding.
No fun either.
Oh.
You crank up, 1 push, then you crank again.
Oh, wow.
What was the temperature usually on the ship?
75 in the middle, 65 on the ends.
Oh, so it's not too bad.
No, we sailed in the North
see.
Pacific and just south of the Arctic Circle. But The engines on this boat only ran 5 hours every 3 days just to charge the battery. Everything runs electrically. So the heat on the boat was 98.6 times 100, cooking, and the electronics on the boat were like your grandma's radio that was still hot to the touch because of the tubes in it. That was the only heat source on the boat.
And it was enough.
I mean, I remember for the most part having a sweatshirt tied around my waist most days. And I'm a torpedoman, so I always worked in the end of the boat.
Wow. Fascinating. How did the engines, did you have to be near the surface so the engines could get oxygen?
Yeah, 65 feet. We had a pipe that went up, brought air down, and it was a
exhaust?
two-chamber pipe that also had exhaust in it. So not only would we exhaust the air from the exhaust of the engines, we would change the air in the boat, exhaust the dirty air. We also exhausted the hydrogen we created when we charged the battery.
Oh, because they were lead acid batteries.
Was that done mostly at night so that wasn't spotted?
We did it 11 at night to 4 in the morning at the edge of our patrol area with both scopes up, sonar on and radar up, and our ECM mast, electronic countermeasures. So if somebody paints you with radar, you can hear it. And it was 1963. There's no satellites with cameras.
Oh, yeah. Do you think you ever got spotted?
No. In the 60s, our boats were half the speed of the Soviets, but our sonar was 3 times theirs. So we could hear them coming before they knew we were here. So we would just get, and this boat, all this is a missile platform. Just be alone somewhere in the ocean. Anybody comes near you, you go out of the way.
Fascinating. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's amazing how well it's preserved. Yeah.
Well, I've had 2 years on the pandemic, and I only live 2 miles away. And so every day I came, and so the boat's in really, really good shape because it's my boat.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm qualified on the boat. I know every
Yeah.
single thing on this.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, thanks for sharing it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
How cool was that?
That's very cool.
Here's the sonar room. It's painted blue because it absorbs light, and you don't want light for the sonar guys. This is my job. I'm the sonar guy. I didn't like the job you gave me. Captain wants to see you.
This is my job. I'm the baker. I run this machine.
Oh, do you? Is that the?
That's a KitchenAid.
That's the big KitchenAid.
It's actually a Hobart. That's awesome.
Have you heard of Hobart?
I have actually.
Oh, looky here. If you need to go outside, you just go up. Oh, here's. Yuck.
These are the worst beds on the ship.
Yeah, don't be in those. We all live in a yellow submarine. A yellow submarine. Well, that was neat. I did too enjoy that. This is the Enterprise. It was part of the Space Shuttle development program. It's essentially a prototype of what became the Space Shuttle, but it never went to space. It was used for doing landing exercises and proving that the aircraft could land and that sort of stuff. In 1977, it was the first space shuttle to land at Edwards Air Force Base after being lifted into the air on the back of the 747. But it's pretty neat. We're standing on the flight deck of the Intrepid. Here's what we've learned. The Intrepid was in service in World War II and was actually attacked during the war. It was in the Pacific front against the Japanese and was actually hit by a kamikaze pilot during its service. Then it was retrofit for jets, and then it was continued its service. And another interesting thing that it did was it was part of the NASA, it retrieved Mercury space capsules after splashdowns. So as part of the NASA program when they were retrieving space capsules, as part of the space race when we were trying to get ahead of the Soviets and get to the moon first. So it participated in that, which is really cool. And it also served in Vietnam and did many missions as part of
Support, basically.
yeah, well, and they launched a lot of bombers off here that bombed Vietnam and Laos, and it was part of the Rolling Thunder campaign, which was early in the war. And then it was in the early 70s, I think, it was decommissioned and it became part of this museum. And then it was pulled into service again after 9/11 as the FBI headquarters for investigating what was going on with that. So it closed as a museum and became part of the FBI's extended office space, I guess. So yeah, but it's really historic. It's really cool to be in a ship that served the U.S. military from the U.S. Navy from the 40s up to 1972. And apparently it looks huge to us, but apparently compared to today's nuclear-powered super carriers, this thing is small, but it doesn't feel small, but apparently it is. But it's really neat, and they got all this great aircraft. If you ever get to New York, you really ought to, it's really worth a visit. Talking about it. Oh yeah, look at this. This looks like the one with the umbrella and everything.
Oh yeah.
This is the one.
Hot dog.
Hot dog.
Sure, hot dog.
2 hot dogs.
What do you like? What do you like? Ketchup?
What do you ketchup, mustard? What do you want?
Mustard, relish,
Mustard and relish.
onion.
You have sauerkraut. No relish.
I'm sorry.
Sauerkraut?
No relish. You have sauerkraut, onion, mustard, ketchup.
Onion, mustard.
Okay, yeah.
Onion and
Sauerkraut?
mustard.
No sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut?
Oh,
No.
sauerkraut would be good on mine.
You want a drink?
No.
My own talk show finally came true, and to help me out, I called my best friend, Kim Whitley.
Hey, guess what? There are a few things you can do to success the talk show. Yes, audience and promotion.
Yes.
And we are in Times Square, so let's get it.
Okay.
Yes, the sharing show! It's the sharing show!
We went onto the platform to the train that goes the wrong way.
We're on the wrong platform. So you have to go one stop and then cross over.
Yeah, we cross over for free at the next stop. We couldn't cross over for free at this stop.
That's Mary Beth's fault.
It's totally my fault.
Junction Boulevard.
Look at the cheetah chain. What are we doing?
Go to the Mets game.
Going to see the amazing Mets.
Citi Field.
Citi Field. Who are they playing?
Oh, the LA Dodgers.
The Los Angeles Dodgers. Who's gonna win?
The Mets.
The Mets. The Mets are gonna win. You're up. Game on. We're in. We made it.
Let's go Mets.
All right. We're in. We're in. Dun, 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 dun.
Track's popular.
Give it a ride. All the way over the fence. Oh, the crowd is not pleased with M's call. That was a ball. We called it a strike. Nobody's happy about it. We're having just an awesome time watching Major League Baseball in this beautiful Citi Field Stadium. It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. It sure gives me a smile, 'cause it's been me they've been coming to see, to forget about life for a while. And the piano, it sounds like a carnival, and the microphone smells like a beer. They sit in my put the bread in my jar and say, man, what are you doing here? 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets!
Well, that does it for this episode of our time in New York City. Please stay tuned for the next one, when we spend more time in Manhattan exploring some cool spaces and architecture and visit the sobering 9/11 Museum. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to BBB Adventures. Enjoy the ride. Wear a helmet.